Welcome back, Guardians. This week in Destiny, Bungie have given us quite a chunky twab, but my goal with this video is to make it short, bite-sized, and as neurodiversely friendly as possible. I will attempt to avoid ping-ponging, but I'd like to focus on important information and then bullet points, which thankfully Bungie's already got. So without further ado, let's do this. This week in Destiny, we're getting ready for our next developer stream. These things take time, so we're also telling you all about one of the biggest systematic changes we're introducing with the Edge of Fate. It's a topic that you may not have heard about yet, so get ready for it. And for the rest of the weekly topics, of course, save the date. All dungeons in Right at the Nine, introducing additive melee damage, exotic armor tuning preview, last call for final shape Bungie rewards. So tune in to our next developer stream. Join us on Tuesday the 24th of June, which is Tuesday, next week Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, as we give an in-depth look at the Edge of Fate. We'll have the dev team on the floor ready to share many details about Armor 3.0 and the new ability stat system to show you some new weapons and more. Okay, this is exciting. Really looking forward to this. Can't wait. Everyone watching our developer stream on the Bungie Twitch channel for at least 15 minutes, and with their Bungie ID linked, will earn the Astromancy emblem as a Twitch drop. So that's pretty cool. So if you guys want this emblem, you will get it by watching the live stream. And I'll find out about this, but I wonder if, for those of us that are Bungie creators like myself, whether if you're live streaming, viewers can get the chance of watching this, or we have to be watching only the Bungie channel. But I'll clarify that. Maybe leave a comment in the comment section about it. Right at the Nine continues. Guardians, the Emissary, and the Nine still require your attention. After making all dungeons available next week and turning on increased rewards for them, we are entering a new Right at the Nine cycle. All dungeons remain active and can be played at players' leisure, but only one of them has increased rewards active. So you can go back and farm for resources and weapons if you were still chasing some of them. Okay, this is good because I haven't touched Destiny in a couple of weeks because I've been too into editing a 2-hour video about the Nine and all their lore and all the adjacent lore, and then where that leads us for Edge of Fate. It's a good video. Can't wait for you guys to see that. We have another update coming on July 1st. The Emissary will start giving away nonary emblems that are filled to the brim with hand-picked cosmetics. So for those of you who don't know, nonary engrams are a new engram that Bungie's dropping into the game, and the idea is that it will be filled with cosmetics that would ordinarily be in the Eververse store. Now, this is a very, very big deal for Bungie because normally their cash shop is, I would say, one of the quintessential pillars of their marketing strategy for Destiny 2. The fact that they've introduced this sends all sorts of warning shots, because if they are slowly phasing out the cosmetic store and making cosmetics lootable, it doesn't make me wonder like what type of payment model they're gonna go with. Are they gonna push for free to play? If they're pushing for free to play, then the cosmetic shop would probably make more sense, but I digress. That are filled to the brim with hand-picked cosmetic rewards. Okay, that answers my question. They are hand-picked, not just random. Okay, spanning multiple years of Destiny 2 content. So I assume these are going to be filled with Destiny 2 Vanilla Year 1, Red War Campaign, Exotics, Curse of Osiris, the Warmind, Forsaken, Shadowkeep, etc., etc. You get the idea. Some are newer, like hollow chips, and others are best. Others are a blast from the past. Exactly my point. Like Crimson Days emotes. Okay, great. Check the calendar below so you don't miss anything that's upcoming. Okay, so these are the important things that I want to touch on. Until June 24th, which is until from now till next Tuesday, there will continue to be increased currency drops. And those will be active on all dungeons. Excuse me, I have allergies. From June 24th, all dungeons are available and will have increased currency rewards and a chance for weapons to drop from enemy kills. This is massive because I've always felt like that should be a thing. And an increased loot from the final boss chest when completing all encounters in the featured dungeon. Right. So next week, Tuesday, June 24th, the featured dungeon is Spire of the Watcher. Okay. Week of July the 1st goes to the deep. Okay. And then week of July 8th is Prophecy, which makes sense even from a lore narrative direction. This dungeon still has a lot that connects to current lore, so there's that too. Excuse me while I sniff. So, starting next week, Tuesday, June 24th, the Emissary will offer a handful of exotics for players looking to round out their exotic weapon arsenal. More will be added each week through the Edge of Fate launch. Okay, this is interesting. So they're definitely doubling down on the idea that exotics should be available. Or they're giving us a whole bunch of exotics now because they're going to be lessening how available exotics are, generally speaking. So maybe past this point of the Edge of Fate launch, exotics will be... there'll be a debuff of some sort, a reduction, percentage increase, I don't know. From July 1st until July 15th, players can earn nonary engrams. Those are the cosmetic engrams, in case you forgot. Players may purchase nonary engrams using 350 nonary manifolds, which is nonary manifolds is the currency that they introduced for Rite of the Nine in order to get Rite of the Nine loot. You get the drift. Starting July 8th, players will be rewarded an additional nonary engrams each day just for signing in. So, yeah, that's pretty much Rite of the Nine. Sorry, I'm keeping an eye on time because I'm trying to keep this succinct as possible. So, melee damage is changing in Edge of Fate. This is a big one. I'm sure you will all be excited about that. I'll put timestamps for this as well. How melee damage worked in the past. I'm skipping. So, hello there. This is the Destiny 2 Sandbox team, ready to talk about one of the most significant systematic overhauls coming with the Edge of Fate. Additive melee damage stacking. That is a mouthful, and I really hope they change this. The short version is almost all sources of increased melee damage are buffed. All sources of increased melee damage stack at full efficiency in PvE, and we are using additive damage increase calculations for melee damage. So these changes of PvE, they haven't said anything in PvE. Now, I'm not necessarily going to go read the entirety of this. I will leave the link to this in the description below for those of you who really want to deep dive and get the juicy tidbits. For my type of neurodiversity, this is only relevant to me when it's relevant. And usually the change is not so significant that I need to pay attention to it. I think it will be an issue to me more when I'm not able to do what I need to do in game. I'm not a numbers person. I failed math, so you can imagine that, like, hearing about stat increases and changes are potentially not attractive to me from the most part, but I do try to generally inform myself so that if I know, hey, if I do a warlock static jolt with arc, that it's gonna work, and or proc, that is to say it's going to be activated when I do something. So how melee will change in the past. Currently, Destiny 2 most sources of increased damage in Destiny 2 are multiplicative. 2 hypothetical, 50% damage increase, a 1.5x increase to damage are multiplied together for a total of 125% or 2.25 times damage increase. Yeah, okay. This does conversationally and probably reading make more sense to me to have that like 2.25 times damage, but that makes me now I'm gonna have to start calculating. Okay. This approach to damage increases increase has some problems. So this type of verbiage, it's just occurred to me as I'm reading it that this is very much stat builder language, because there will be those of you who want to sit down and pull out your calculator and start like literally calculating, hey, how much damage increase can I get? And I think that is important overall in Destiny, but for me, it's not something that you would see me doing. There's so many other things sensory wise that my brain is like doubling down on the detail, probably lore, who each character is gonna be. Yeah, all those things are probably more important to me, and that's okay. As a PvE player, those are that's the way that I play. However, okay, that doesn't mean when I'm playing a game such as Dune Awakening, whew, let me tell you guys that that game has probably it has definitely increased my interest in like it's given me an understanding as to why life skilling generally or crafting based games are attractive to people. And I realized that for me, it's actually a very calming process. So I think it's helped me to have a more open mind when it comes to build crafting. That's all I'm trying to say. So me saying that how I would ordinarily do this doesn't mean I'm not going to do this when Azure Fate rolls out, but we'll see what happens. So I'm going to leave this chunk of info here and move on to the next bit to keep this succinct. So how melee damage will work. Now, when Edge of Fate is released on July 15th, melee damage increases in Destiny 2 will be additive. That means 2 hypothetical 50% damage increases will be added together for the total of 100% damage increase. Oh, I like this. I really like this. This is fun. Now, this does result in lower damage ceiling for melee abilities. Oh, okay. Now it's not so fun. And it is unlikely that most bosses will ever be one-shot with melee abilities. They never were in the first place, unless, like, you needed to finish the boss and the health was low enough that you just, or whatever, or, doing your Hunter, Titan, Warlock stuff going forward. But because we do not need to worry about someone stacking these melee buffs and trivializing most content in the game, we can do 2 very cool things. So here we go. This is the juice. We are buffing almost all effects that increase melee damage. I'm going to repeat that again. We are buffing almost, guys, not all, almost all effects that increase melee damage. Some of them by double the damage they do now. Okay. In PvE, melee damage increase effects always stack at full value if applicable. Okay, this is good to know. Something about what they've said here and something about what they've said here sounds like somewhere in between buffing, giving us an increased melee damage on some melee abilities versus damage increase effects always stack. Okay, does that mean there's going to be some sort of RNG? Because I've heard this language before, and I feel like some of these changes are going back to the way that we had things post or pre Forsaken, if I'm not mistaken. In that there was like a percentage chance if you did the right combination of things that it would result in the increased melee damage landing a hit, a critical hit, or a precision hit. I hope that's not what this is. Let's read on. Our goal with these changes is to make it much easier to create a personalized build that works the way you want. Many potential combinations of melee abilities and build crafting atoms are now much stronger than they were. We are very excited to see what melee builds y'all cook up in Edge of Fate with these new changes. Okay, I have no comments, apart from the comments I made before. Question mark? We'll have to wait and see. That's kind of the way I feel with this. We won't know what it's like till we feel what gameplay is like in Edge of Fate. So I would say, don't panic, just wait. And sometimes these changes feel big, but they're actually incremental and not that major a change at all, because most players will still be playing the way they've always played, unless there's something different about the enemy table in Destiny 2 that will change how enemies receive said damage, or how they react, or how much health they lose or don't lose based on these melee additive changes. So we'll see. Systemic updates. In this new system, every effect that increases melee damage has been converted to use additive damage stacking. Every item that has been changed as part of this has been listed below. With a single exception, the new melee stat introduced with Armor 3.0 increases the damage of melee abilities when going over 100 points, up to an extra 30% at 200 stat. The damage bonus provided by this stat is considered to be an increase to the base damage of a player's melee attack, of players' melee attacks and abilities, and is multiplicative with other damage increases. In short, if you're putting together a melee build, you'll want to get your melee stat as high as possible. Yeah, I think this is this is generally what's important here. If you want to do damage, your melee needs to be high. End of story. That's how I'm going to summarize this section. Here we're talking about glaives. As part of our melee overhaul, we are revisiting the role of glaives in the sandbox. We would like glaives to find a more permanent home in melee-focused builds, where they provide a defensive tool to help you close in on your targets, and a faster and more potent unpowered melee ability when Guardians would have otherwise. That's right, Glaive melee is considered an unpowered melee ability in Edge of Fate. This is interesting for multiple reasons. But I guess the sandbox team know what they're talking about. So I'll let you guys dive into that in the section. This video is literally 20 minutes. This is insane. So ability changes for melee. To summarize, Prismatic PvE is getting an increase from 10% to 50%. Arc in PvE is getting a damage bonus increase from 25% to 100%. Now, Glaive will work with these changes. PvE melee damage bonus is no longer decreased when used with Synthoceps. Whoa, got Titans. This update is really good for Titans. So basically everything, all the things for Titans that got a debuff just got buffed again. Hunters also got some buffs. I didn't see Warlock in here. Warlock didn't get any. Oh, interesting. Okay, so so only Titans and Hunters got a buff. Fair. Exotic armor changes, I'll let you guys go through those, but that's pretty much it for this week's TWAB. We're gonna scroll down because I want to see if there's anything at the end of it that I think we need to pay attention to. Bungie rewards. We are almost at the end of the final shape year, but it's never too late to jump in the game, fight against the Hordes of Darkness, and defeat one of our biggest foes. Yeah, same thing for the year of content after the expansion. Okay, so Bungie rewards. You guys know what to do. Keep doing the thing. Claim your rewards before it's too late. The final shape specific rewards, because those are important. And Artist of the Week this week is Pain This Ice. This is great. It's great to see her artwork getting featured. Because she's been going through a lot, and so it's really great that Bungie have featured this Vex art that she's done. Yeah, I hope she continues to get a lot of recognition for that. Movie of the week, check it out, guys. Always a good watch. Some PvP montage stuff. And yeah, that's going to be it for this video. So I hope that you have enjoyed watching and listening to today's video. Content plan, this video, I have a Dune video that I'm working on, which is just like my early lore thoughts. Really good stuff in Dune. I love that game. Also, I will be doing a review video on Chrono Odyssey, which is a new MMO. No idea when it's coming out, but I did receive access to the beta, so I'll be talking about that this week coming as well. And then the mega video on the 9 is now finished completely. Narration, footage, lore, everything is assembled. Anything left to do is export. So that'll be happening next week. And then the plan is to do a watch party. So if you would be interested in tuning into a watch party, live or pre-recorded live, whatever the case may be, let me know. There will be an emblem giveaway to go along with that, but I will let you all know the details. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and also hit the bell notification to find out when my next lore video goes live. And remember that no matter what you're facing at this moment in time, you can do all things. Stay safe and Godspeed.